Welcome everyone. Today we are going to be talking about the seated pose Virasana and some alignment tips and use of props, home accessible props in this case, how to apply them to Virasana in a way that feels really good in your body. So it's not enough just to be able to do the pose and just sort of grit your teeth through it. You want to be able to do the pose in a way that's very healthy for the body, because Virasana has great health benefits and it also can be very hard on the knees if you practice it in a stubborn and non-yogic sort of way. So anyway, I'm beginning with my legs extended because I'm going to have an example of an exercise. Now this isn't a follow along video necessarily, but I highly recommend doing this exercise for Virasana if you struggle, especially if your ankles and feet are tight. So just sitting as tall as you can and then pointing the toes and then coming either to neutral, or you can work on flexing, and then just doing that as your warm-up. A good general warm-up is also very helpful. When you're 30 minutes into a yoga practice, you've done some standing poses, you've done some movement, and your body has some heat, that also will just naturally make these parts of the body feel more comfortable. But specific warm-ups for specific poses are really good. So here I've pointed my toes. Now I'm going to hold it a little bit. I've done that 5 times or so, and this is a great exercise. If you really struggle with arch development and ankle flexibility, I would recommend doing this 3 times a week, if not every day. So now I'm ready to take the Virasana pose. So I'm going to use a couch cushion. If you don't have a cushion you're comfortable with using, a towel that you can fold thick, a blanket, these things work great. We typically all have these things in our house. Blocks, yoga bolsters, those are great too, so use those if you have them, but just know that there's household items that you can use to avoid having that. So this is a wide leg Virasana, and my thighs are rotating inward. So if I wanted to do the more traditional Virasana, I could tuck the pillow back. Now I have the knees more in line with the hips. And then the traditional sort of Iyengar type of form is knees together. Now all of these forms I've just shown, wide, medium, and narrow, they're all very valid forms. Sometimes it helps to roll the calves out. Now I've heard some teachers focus on, package delivery. I've heard some teachers focus on trying to have the knees rotate to become level. Now I don't understand that at all. Like, it may apply a deeper stretch to your ankles and quadricep muscles, but from my perspective, the point of Virasana, or one of the key points, is that you're doing an internal rotation of your femurs. You're doing an internal rotation of your hips, and internal rotation is very good for the hips, but it's also very good for the sacrum, right? When you do tons and tons of external rotation, if your glutes harden and you're always opening your legs out and you're never working your legs in, then the body becomes imbalanced. So truthfully, yoga tends to have a lot more external rotation than internal rotation, both in terms of types of poses there are, numbers of types of poses, and class sequencing tends to emphasize opening the legs out or rotating the thighs out. So I think it's really, really good to bring the straight leg across, rotate the femurs in, especially if you start to develop acute sacroiliitis. So anyway, we've got the thighs rotated in, and sometimes it helps to pull on the skin of the knee. So I've sat here on a thicker pillow than I might normally sit on. And so maybe you're gonna sit on a bunch of pillows. It's okay, you start where you need to be, right? But I'm gonna switch to a smaller pillow. This is not just a smaller pillow, it's a less firm pillow, so it gives more. So now I'm able to sit down into that smaller pillow. I'm feeling more intensity in the ankles, but my knees feel pretty good. I'm able to sit straight, and I can breathe. So that's a good sign. If your knees are really hurting, if your ankles, feet are really hurting, if you can't breathe really smooth, and if your mind is starting to get fight or flight, then that's a sign that you need to stick with more of a prop. So here I am in the pose, breathing deep. And then the final phase would be to take the prop away. That's not necessarily how you approach it in a given practice. Maybe this is like a 3-month to 2-year practice, and then you switch to this for, also a similar duration of time, and maybe you get to here after the course of years, not necessarily, okay, I did 5 breaths on the big pillow and then 5 breaths on the little pillow and now I'm ready to sit on the floor. That's not what I'm trying to encourage, even though I'm showing that in this truncated video. I'm encouraging a lot of patience, a lot of personal awareness. Use more cushion than less when in doubt. The knees are so important. It's so detrimental to the practice, so anti-yoga to do something that harms the knees. Remember, the first rule of yoga, do no harm. That has to start with yourself, and then you can let that expand out to others as well. All right, thank you for listening to that lecture series. So I'm fairly comfortable in the pose. I've got a tall spine, and I'm ready to come out of it. So consider all of these options and let me know if you have any comments or questions. I'm showing a couple things and talking about some nuance of the pose, but there is further ideas and nuance of the pose. So please feel free to continue the dialogue. If you like this type of alignment and you have postures you want to request that I break down, please let me know. If you would like to do alignment-based vinyasa or hatha flow classes, consider signing up for my membership. There's a link in the description below. I have public classes that's on YouTube, but most of my classes are on membership, and I do have a free option of membership, and I do accept one-time donations for classes, but you do get higher level of content if you sign up for the more expensive tiers, which do start at a very reasonable price. So thank you again for watching. If you want to learn more about me, you can also check out GabrielBenjaminYoga.com, and I look forward to continuing this journey together. Thank you, everyone. Ciao.